Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
If there was a COVID-19 vaccine, would you take it? That's just one of the questions we polled the state of Michigan. And some of these answers are pretty interesting.
This is Night Cam reporter Tim Pamplin. We're just pulling up on the scene here, 8 Mile and Mound. A shootout down the street leads to a multi-vehicle wreck. We've got the Night Cam on the scene coming up.
Also, a woman and her dog come under attack by 2 other dogs. Neighbors who jumped in to help could only save one of them. Glad you're with us tonight at 11. The aftermath of that attack, a woman badly injured, her dog killed.
It happened yesterday evening in a Roseville neighborhood near Frazo and Cathy Streets. Tonight, police are still searching for the 2 dogs that were involved. Jason Colthorpe is in Roseville. And Jason, you spoke to a man who jumped in to help.
I did, and he was also bitten while he did that. But when he saw this woman protecting her dog, on top of her dog, trying to protect it from 2 other dogs that are described as pit bulls, he didn't hesitate to jump into action. We want to warn you, there is video of this that is disturbing to listen to, which is why we're using it very sparingly.
The dogs ran across the street.
Just after 6 p.m. Monday, Mark Billings drove up Cathy Street, where he's lived for 40 years, and turned left on Frazo, headed to the grocery store, as he'd done many times before. But this time, he stopped his pickup suddenly.
She was actually laying on top of the dog, screaming and helping, saying, "Help me, help my dog."
A 45-year-old woman was walking her puppy, a 10-month-old beagle named Bella, when 2 dogs described as a large pit bull and a smaller pit raced across the street and attacked. A neighbor's Ring doorbell captured it.
I just started beating the dog with the breaker bar. I was just swinging, just to try to break it from hanging on to this poor dog.
Other neighbors also ran to help, beating the dogs away, but not before the damage was done.
Nothing but blood.
Okay.
Nothing but blood.
Another neighbor actually gave Bella CPR for several minutes before she finally succumbed, and the woman was taken to the hospital.
The dog didn't have a chance.
A horrible ordeal that could have been worse had neighbors not rushed in.
I felt that I was destined to be there to help that lady by the man upstairs. I had a reason to go to Kroger's, and he had a reason for me to be there to help that lady.
Now let me run down the injuries on this. The dog's owner did go to the hospital. She's expected to be okay, but bad bites on her legs. Another neighbor suffered some bites, as did Billings on his leg. They're expected to be okay, but Billings has already had 1 rabies shot, and he'll have to get more until these dogs are found. Kimberly.
Well, where are the dogs? Any sort of leads on finding them?
Yes, a lot of people in the neighborhood feel like they had an idea, and I'm told the Macomb County Animal Control has a good lead on this. We'll wait and see what happens next, if they are able to seize these dogs and what they can find out about them and what charges come forth after this. Kimberly?
Goodness, okay. Jason, thanks.
A driver who police say was trying to escape gunfire ended up in a wreck on Detroit's east side.
Tim Pamplin is there with a night cam at 8 Mile and Mound.
Sirens whirring as they make the scene here. Steam still coming out the front of that Lincoln. That was the vehicle that caused all this here at Outer Drive and Mound on Detroit's east side. Another lady laying in the grass over there. A total of 3 vehicles involved in this collision. The man in the white shirt there, he was in the Lincoln. He's telling people out here at the scene that he was getting shot at as he was driving down Outer Drive. He hit the gas, hauling down Outer Drive, plowing into vehicles, sending them flying, and a fire hydrant laying in the middle of the scene here. Again, medics just arriving on the scene, trying to get a handle on the injuries here. But a very dangerous situation on the east side along Outer Drive as bullets start flying and cars start crashing. That's the scene on Outer Drive at Mound with the night cam. Tim Pamplin, Local 4.
The White House has not offered any sort of update tonight on the health of the president, but we do know another high-ranking member of the Trump administration is now tested positive for COVID-19. It's the president's senior advisor, Stephen Miller. He announced tonight he is in quarantine after a positive test. Miller says he tested negative for 5 days before testing today positive. His wife, Katie, an aide to Vice President Pence, you may recall, tested positive back in May, becoming one of the first people in the White House to contract COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 is the central issue for voters going into the November election.
That is according to exclusive polling we've done with the Detroit News. And we wanted to know how you think the president has done dealing with the virus, but also if a vaccine is imminent, are you going to get it? Mara McDonald is live downtown tonight, and Mara, those vaccine numbers are all over the place.
Kimberly, they sure are. You ask people if they are going to get a vaccine, and nearly 40% of them say no. And then you ask some follow-up questions, and the tune changes. Let me show you. The virus has upended everybody's daily routine in 2020, and with multiple well-established pharmaceutical companies trialing vaccines right now that some of your neighbors are participating in as we speak, we polled on whether you're ready to get a COVID vaccine when available. 39% of you are a no, but when you ask this follow-up, those numbers really start to move. Your personal doctor's advice matters. And then there's how comfortable you are with sending your children to school in the midst of this. And those numbers are fairly evenly split.
COVID is the central point. It is the fulcrum point of this election.
Our pollster says COVID is the issue that moves the needle in the polls, especially when it comes to these presidential numbers, which are very close to your views on how the president has handled the crisis. Our polling went into the field after the first debate, but before the president tested positive for the virus. So it'll be interesting to see what effect that has on the numbers.
Donald Trump is going to either win re-election or lose based on perceptions of how he handled COVID.
Back here live, as always, a reminder, a poll is simply a snapshot in time. And as we saw in 2016, numbers can radically shift in a month. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Those are true words. Okay, Mara, we appreciate it. Well, today the state of Michigan reported 903 new cases of COVID-19, and sadly 22 more Michiganders have died from the virus. That number includes 7 deaths from a review of past vital records. And there's one COVID symptom that seems to be more important than doctors first thought. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, why doctors are suddenly focusing on loss of smell and taste, and the first thing you should do if you develop it.
The big weather story right now involves Hurricane Delta, which is gaining strength and right now on course for 2 very popular Mexican resort cities.
Yeah, let's get over to Ben for an update on that situation. Ben?
Yeah, Kim and Devin, Cozumel and Cancun. I know a lot of Michiganders go down there, especially this time of year. And that looks like it's right in the path of Delta. So let's go to the satellite. You can see that storm. Remember, last night at this time, Delta was just barely becoming a hurricane. It's now a Category 4 storm. There's the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula where that storm is headed towards. Hurricane Hunter aircraft was out earlier tonight, caught us 960 millibar pressure, which is fairly low. The wind speeds, according to the flight level, were a little low, but they've estimated it now at 130 miles per hour, so a little bit lower than it was earlier. Still will make landfall as likely as a Category 4 storm tomorrow morning. Of course, Brandon will have the latest on Local 4 News today starting at 4:30, and then we'll be watching it as it approaches the Louisiana coastline, very close to where Laura made landfall not too long ago, and then moving into the Tennessee Valley. For us tomorrow, temperatures warmer. We'll get into the 70s, but there is some rain around tonight. We'll track it and see if it hangs around for the morning commute. Coming up in a few minutes, guys.
Okay, Ben, thank you. We have an update on last night's fatal crash that took the life of a 6-year-old boy on Detroit's west side at the intersection of Joy Road and Artisan. The woman who was driving the car with the children inside is now in custody. She was taken to the hospital along with the 3 other children who survived the crash and was arrested following her release. We're still waiting to hear what charges she'll face.
Tremendous loss for the music world today. Legendary guitarist Eddie Van Halen has died after a long battle with throat cancer. Along with his brother Alex on drums, Eddie formed Van Halen in 1972. They went on to become one of the best-selling rock bands of all time. Eddie Van Halen revolutionized the electric guitar, perfecting that finger-tapping style and some never-before-seen or heard techniques that made his sound unmistakable. So good, of course, that Michael Jackson tapped him for the solo on Beat It. Guy who inspired so many, Eddie Van Halen, was just 65.
Still ahead, a major pet supply chain taking a controversial item off the shelves, and tonight it's pushing its competitors to do the same.
Also, would you eat inside one of these? The idea some restaurant owners think could get them through a winter of COVID safety restrictions coming up.
And next, a debate within a debate. The dispute over safety measures put in place to protect Mike Pence and Kamala Harris in tomorrow night's vice presidential debate.